you're a Christian or an atheist, I can prove to you that Islam is the one true religion in 25 seconds. The Quran was revealed 1400 years ago, and it predicted that Islam would become the largest religion, and Islam is now the largest religion in the world.
Here's me asking Grok that question. What is the world's largest religion? Grok's response, this is Grok 3, the world's largest religion is Christianity, with an estimated 2.4 billion followers globally. Google has its own AI. I asked the same question. What is the world's largest religion? The world's largest religion is Christianity, with approximately 2.3 billion followers, followed by Islam with 1.9 billion adherents. I have to say, your first argument is really, really terrible. But there's another point. Islam kind of says everything. And then these guys will fixate on something that looks like it's gotten right? Suppose Islam did not grow into a very large religion, but had just sort of fallen apart instantly, right? Like it just, suppose Islam falls apart right now, never becomes the world's largest religion. Suppose it just implodes. Then guys like this will be quoting this, right? So this is Sahih Muslim 146. The Messenger of Allah observed, verily Islam started as something strange, and it would again revert to its old position of being strange, just as it started, and it would recede between the two mosques, just as the serpent crawls back into its hole.
Ooh.
What's this sound like? It sounds like Islam's going to shrink and just go run and hide like a serpent crawling back into its hole, right? So what is this? So if Islam grows rapidly, they say, oh, this is the proof of Islam. How could this be? And if Islam were to shrink and fizzle out, they would still be, you see, this is the proof. How could Muhammad know that Islam is going to shrink? And this is embarrassing, guys. His first argument actually has a false premise. It's false.
It also predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen.
Okay, so that was his number two. The Quran predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen. The Romans, those are Christians, and the Persians, they're pagans. So Muhammad and his followers, they're rooting for the Romans, right? Because they're people of the book. They root for people of the book over, they root for monotheists over pagans, right? According to Islam. Mm-hmm. So they're rooting for the Romans, but the Persians win. And then supposedly Muhammad says, but the Romans will win within a few years. Guys, it's the Roman Empire. What are the odds if the Romans lose something? They may come back and actually win in a later battle.
Oh, it's impossible.
I don't know, pretty darn good, because that's what they did for centuries. So
no, it's impossible.
Basically a coin flip. Guys, think about this now, right? I say, I could claim to be a prophet right now, and I say, the Republicans just had a big victory in the elections, but the Democrats will eventually have a victory. And then as soon as someone wins a political race or something like that, a couple years from now, I say, you see, this is the proof. That's what happens when you have two groups that are kind of comparable in strength and so on, so that they're going back and forth, so that they go back and forth repeatedly. And then you say, oh, this one won, but this one will too. This one will win later. Great. Yeah, it takes a prophet to know something like that, right? But we've got more problems than that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and read the Quran. So it's the Quran. Aleph Lam Min. The Romans are vanquished in a near land, and they, after being vanquished, shall overcome within a few years. Allah's is the command before and after, and on that day the believers shall rejoice. So the Romans are vanquished. They lost against the Persians in battle in a near land, and they, after being vanquished, shall overcome. So they're going to come back. They're going to come back and get a victory. Everyone got that? So, couple problems here. Our little buddy, he says, how could the Quran have gotten this right? This must be supernatural. Let's read two passages from Jami at-Tirmidhi. Ready for this? Let's talk about when Muhammad got this revelation, according to these two passages in Jami at-Tirmidhi. Abu Sa'id narrated, it's another passage in Jami at-Tirmidhi. Abu Sa'id narrated, on the day of Badr, the Romans had a victory over the Persians. When does this amazing revelation come about? It's after the Romans had their victory over the Persians. So the believers were pleased with that. Then What do you mean? What does then mean? It means after this. So the believers were pleased with that. Then the following was revealed. Aleph Lam Mim. The Romans had been defeated up to this saying, the believers will rejoice with the help of Allah. He said, so the believers were happy with the victory of the Romans over the Persians. In these versions of the Hadiths, it's about it's just announcing that the believers are going to be happy because this is going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's just basically recapping what happened. And so, what are we supposed to do here? Yep, and then we get his third of his main points, and then he has a little interlude, and then he goes into some more. But there's a third.
Now bear with me, okay? Because it also said that we would have iron come from space, and now we know that meteors have iron, and they come to space, and they hit the Earth.
But here's the verse, ladies and gentlemen. It's Surah 57, verse 25. And don't look at the beginning. Do not, whatever you do, look at the beginning. In fact, I should have marked all of this off, because all they read is, if you see in the middle, the second line, towards the end of the second line,
Indeed.
it says,
messengers
and we
with the
sent down
sign."
iron. They say, oh, sent down iron. We sent down iron. Oh my goodness, Allah sent down iron. What's that mean? It means that iron forms in stars and then eventually gets sent down. How could they have known this? How could they have known this? What happens when you actually start at the beginning? Indeed, we sent our messengers with clear signs, and we sent down with them the book and the balance so that men might uphold justice. What does sent down mean? According to the argument, when he says sent down iron, it means sent down from outer space. And how could Muhammad have known that iron comes from outer space? If that's what you think sent down means, in the very same verse, it's talking about other things Allah sent down, and it's his messengers. So Allah's messengers, ladies and gentlemen, come from outer space, and they're sent from outer space with the book and the balance. And he sends down iron. So he sends down iron and messengers and the book and the balance, all from outer space, if that's what it means to be sent down, right? Now, just want to address the first little point there, right? Suppose that when the Quran said that Allah sent down iron, it actually meant sent down from outer space. And you said, how could anyone have known this? How could anyone have known that iron comes from outer space? Guess what? Everyone knew that. Do you know why? Because before people knew how to get iron out of the ground, smelting it, so on, the early source of iron was meteorites.
Yep.
People found out meteorites hit Earth, and they take it and they go, wow, this is really strong metal. And they would make things out of them, make weapons and stuff like that, jewelry out of the meteorites. And that was their source of iron. Later, they figure out how to get iron just out of the ground. But back then, the early source of iron was from space. And they knew it. They'd see a meteorite fall to the ground. They go over there. Oh, this is really good metal. And matter of fact, do not take my word for this. And hey, guys, I've got Inspiring Philosophy texting me now.
Oh, me too, yeah. No,
Yeah, he's texting.
well.
Hey, check this out. He says, I'm pretty sure Sumerian and Babylonian texts refer to metal from heaven in religious context. They were associated with the god Enlil. It was either Ugaritic or Hittite texts that referred to black iron from the sky. Well, thank you, because I could have never found any of that out without you, Inspiring Philosophy. Oh, unless I already had it ready right here on the screen. Trying to tell the Dizzle something.
In your face, IP.
Trying to tell the Dizzle something. Check this out. To the ancient Egyptians, iron was known as metal of heaven. It was known as metal from heaven. The ancient cultures, they all called it something like metal from the sky or metal from heaven or something like that. Why? Because it came from meteorites. But here, in the hieroglyphic language of the ancient Egyptians, it was pronounced ba and pet, meaning either stone or metal of heaven. For thousands of years, before they learned to smelt iron ore, Egyptians were crafting beads and trinkets from it, harvesting the metal from fallen meteorites. So, what's the claim? That if the Quran says that iron was sent down from heaven, how could he have known this? They all thought that back then, because that's where they got iron from. Durr. But so that's one problem. If the Quran got this right, he would just be saying something that everyone else already thought. Problem is, it's not what the Quran is saying at all. The Quran isn't even saying that iron came from space. When the Quran says that Allah sent down, yeah, you could be thinking space, but in terms of that's where Allah is, and it's just God providing things. God providing things from you. That's what it basically means. You don't believe me? Let's check out the various uses of Allah sending things down. Ready? 222. Who has made the earth your couch and the heavens your canopy and sent down rain from the heavens? So rain doesn't just come from the sky and so on. It's actually coming from outer space, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what sent down means, according to our Muslim friends. 257, and we caused the white cloud to overshadow you and sent down on you manna and quails. From where? Well, it says sent down, so it's got to be from outer space. So manna and quails come from outer space, ladies and gentlemen. 39:6, he created you all from a single person, then created of like nature his mate, and he sent down for you 8 head of cattle in pairs. Where do cows come from? According to our Muslim friends, outer space. Space cows. Someone should make a movie called Space Cows about how this happened. It will be a blockbuster. 7:26, O children of Adam, we have indeed sent down to you clothing to cover your shame. Where does clothing come from? Do we make it? No. Clothing comes from outer space. Ladies and gentlemen, we know it because that's what sent down in the Quran means. 544. We sent down the Torah. The Torah comes from outer space. Space Jews. This is why they're so powerful. Their book came from outer space. You see?
That's why they have the space lasers.
That's why they have the space lasers. That's why we can't defeat them. Their book came from outer space. A surah which we have sent down. So a chapter of the Quran came from outer space. It came from outer space. Then Allah sent down his tranquility from outer space. And he sent down hosts from outer space. 64:8. Therefore believe in God and his messenger and in the light which we have sent down. The light, hey, now, at least you could say light comes down. Say, have you considered the provision God has sent down? So Allah sent his provision from outer space. Guys, are you noticing something? It's basically everything that Allah blesses people with or gives them or something like this. He says he sent it down. What do Muslim dawah clowns do? They look for one that is actually that would actually work with something coming down from outer space. It's a miracle. How could anyone have known this? And one, even if it were correct, even if that's what Allah in the Quran meant, that he sends it from outer space, everyone knew that already. That's why they called iron metal from heaven. Everyone knew that. So it wouldn't be a scientific miracle. It just mean Muhammad thought what other people thought. So that's one. And the other part is that that's not what the Quran means. In the exact same verse, he talks about sending down his messengers and sending them down with the book. So that would mean they all came in spaceships, right?
It explains perfectly the expansion of the universe and that it's ever expanding. We found that out just in the last 100 years. Like these.
No, the Quran does not. The Quran does not say that the universe is expanding. Hang on. Let me see. Surah 51, verse 47. This is the proof. Ready? This is the verse that Muslims says that the universe is expanding. Just look at these translations. We have built. This is Pickthall. We have built the heaven with might, and we it is who make the vast extent thereof. Where does that say the universe is expanding? We make vast the extent of the universe. Where does it say the universe is expanding? That's the Pickthall. Here's how Yusuf Ali translated it. There's a typo there. It says pace instead of space. But with power and skill did we construct the firmament, for it is we who create the vastness of space. What's it saying? Just, hey, space is big. We create the vastness of space. Hilali Khan, with power did we construct the heaven. Verily, we are able to extend the vastness of space. There, he translated as we are able to extend the vastness of space thereof. M.H. Shakir, and the heaven we raised it high with power, and most surely we are the makers of things ample. We are the makers of things ample. Saying, hey, God is the maker of things ample. Does that tell you that the universe is expanding? No. Sher Ali, and we have built the heavens with our own hands, and verily we have vast powers. Anything there about expanding space? No, but we get down to the Khalifa version. The Khalifa translation made by someone who was regarded as a heretic, was actually killed by other Muslims. And this is the guy who's famous for his miracle of the number 19. And he's actually like taking verses out of the Quran to try and get these multiples of 19 and so on. So this guy's 20th century deliberately messing with the Quran in order to get people to believe in it. And he's the one who says, we constructed the sky with our hands and we will continue to expand it. A guy who was known for fabricating his translations and so on in order to get people to believe in Islam, and was eventually killed because in order to get some of his arguments to work, he had to actually change the Quran. That guy says expand it. What are the other translations? Arbery, and heaven we built it with might and we extend it wide. Palmer, and the heaven we have built it with might, and verily we do surely give it ample space. And Rodwell, and the heaven with our hands we have built it up and given it its expanse. Sale, we have built the heaven with might and we have given it a large extent. Is any of these verses, any of these besides the Khalifa, say that the universe is expanding? No. So if the Quran clearly says the universe is expanding, why does no one translate it that way until the 20th century, after it's been discovered, and then Khalifa, in order to impress people, translates it as expand it, and then for generations, this is the proof that the universe is expanding. If you wanted to translate it as something that's ongoing and is continuing to happen, what would you do with this? And the earth we have laid out, how gracious is the spreader, and we have laid out the spacious earth, how excellent we do we spread it out. If you want to say this is continuous, then great. The earth is spreading out too. It's still going. The earth is getting bigger. The earth is growing right now. It's making it bigger. So space is expanding rapidly and the earth is expanding rapidly, if you want to translate it that way. So guys, you've got the Quran in a particular translation that only happened after it was discovered scientifically. Then one guy who's regarded as a heretic and is famous for messing with the Quran translation in order to get people to believe in it based on these miracles and so on. He comes up with it, and then what happens? How could they have known this? It's impossible, and no one could know this.
You see?
What kind of, this is pathetic and just outright lazy.
And these last three miracles I'm going to tell you are what really sealed the deal for me, proving that Islam is the truth and all other religions are false. One perfectly explains how we have pain receptors all throughout our skin. It perfectly explains that.
Okay, the Quran, pain receptors, ladies and gentlemen. Fortunately, I have the verse. You ready? Here's what it says. Chapter 4, verse 56. Lo, those who disbelieve our revelations, we shall expose them to the fire. As often as their skins are consumed, we shall exchange for them fresh skins that they may taste the torment. Lo, Allah is ever mighty wise.
Yeah. So here you see a hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I do the following here, if I do this, and like hurt my skin here, and grab it, and it hurts. Here I realize that putting pain and pinching my skin actually hurts me and causes pain.
How could you know that? Wait, you know that something in your skin allows you to feel pain?
How could I have known this?
ChatGPT, how is this miraculous knowledge possible?
This is just so whatever. Okay.
So that one pretty lame. Maybe his next one's going to be better. I don't think it will be.
All throughout our skin. It perfectly explains that fingerprints are all different, and it also explains.
What did he say? The Quran says that fingerprints are all different. That's interesting. Now you could just look at fingerprints and say, okay, mine are different from yours and so on, but they're all different. What's that based on? Notice, guys, no references. He's not giving any references. He's not putting them on the screen. Nothing. Why? Here's the reference. Here's the actual reference. This is why you don't give a reference for this. If someone looks it up, they're going to say how stupid this is. Surah 75, 3-4. Does man think that we shall not gather his bones? Talking about the resurrection. Matter of fact, just go back to verse 1 so you see the context. Nay, I swear by the day of resurrection. Nay, I swear by the self-accusing soul. Does man think that we shall not gather his bones? Yea, we are able to make complete his very fingertips. We shall gather his bones. Talking about the resurrection, God's going to restore your body and so on. And so he's going to gather your bones, and even down to your fingertips, he's going to restore you. What is the dawa takeaway from this? Oh my goodness, how could Allah know that every fingertip is... Where does it say anything like that? Fingerprints, fingerprinting, fingerprint science, all this. Where does it say any of that? Saying he's going to gather you together right down to your fingertips. You see a miracle here? He's going to resurrect you. He's going to bring back your body all the way down to your fingertips. Oh, you see, this is talking about fingerprints, and how could someone have known back then about all the fingerprints? And it says he's going to restore you down to your fingertips. This is bad, guys. This is dawah, though. This is dawah. Everyone get that? All right, last one, ladies and gentlemen.
And it also explains how the human embryo is formed. Now remember, Prophet Muhammad, peace be
It explains how the human embryo is formed. So that's the last thing we'll look at. And we'll take the final super chats. We'll be off in a few.
upon him, who the Quran was revealed to, was illiterate and did not know how to read and write and was severely uneducated. So if someone was uneducated, did not know how to read and write, how would they possibly be able to predict things like that? Even the greatest scientists that we have known in history have not been able to make predictions of that accuracy. And then if you just decide to look at the religion logically, it is clear as day that Islam is the one true religion. You cannot prove me wrong.
All right, guys. So the final point there was embryology was the final point there. All right, let's read through a couple of passages. Surah 22:5. This is what's hilarious. I've always liked the point that Surah 22:5 is making, and then Muslims always ruin it by trying to turn it into a scientific miracle when it's obviously not. But O mankind, if you are in doubt concerning the resurrection, then lo, we have created you from dust, then from a drop of seed, that's the sperm, then from a clot. So there's a blood clot stage, then from a little lump of flesh, shapely and shapeless, that we may make it clear for you. And we cause what we will to remain in your wombs for an appointed time, and afterward we bring you forth as infants, then give you growth that ye attain your full strength, and so on. You guys got this so far? You're from dust, then from a drop of seed, so that's the semen, then from a clot. You know why people in the ancient world thought that there's a blood clot stage in the development? Because women have a monthly menstrual cycle and then it stops. And so, the blood must have clotted. And that must be when the baby's born. And what does Muhammad put in here? Blood clot stage. Is that right? No, there is no blood clot stage. And that's why you have the modern scientific miracles dawah guys. I mean, again, they've abandoned it now. But before they abandoned it, they would try to translate that as something like a leech and say, oh, look, the embryo kind of looks like a leech over here and this and that. It's absolutely pathetic. It means blood clot, guys. It's a blood clot. And no, there is no blood clot stage in the development of an embryo. What do we have here? Verily, we created man from a product of wet earth. Okay. Then placed him as a drop of seed in a safe lodging. According to Muhammad, you are a drop of sperm for 40 days. Is that correct? No, that is scientifically false. Then placed him as a drop of seed in a safe lodging. Then fashioned we the drop a clot, blood clot. Then fashioned we the clot a little lump. Then fashioned we the little lump bones. Then clothed the bones with flesh. Notice what you have there. Then fashioned the little lump bones. So it's a lump. Then it becomes bones. Then the bones are clothed with flesh. So what comes first? Bones. Then the bones are clothed with flesh. So bones come first, then Allah clothes the bones with flesh. That is scientifically false. Your bones and your flesh are forming at the same time during embryonic development. It's not one forms and then the other. So that's wrong. What do we have here? The Pickthall here. Lo, we create man from a drop of thickened fluid to test him, so we make him hearing, knowing. No, this is talking, go to one of these other ones. Verily, we created man from a drop of mingled sperm, mingled, in order to try him. Look at Halal Khan. Verily, we have created man from nutfa drops of mixed semen. Sher Ali, mingled sperm. Khalifa, liquid mixture, and so on. Arbery, sperm drop, a mingling. Palmer, mingled clot, and so on. What is this referring to? We actually know. This is the massively stupid and completely debunked ancient theory it's called the two semens theory. And read the hadith. Muhammad says that women have their own semen. So men have semen, it's white, and women have semen, and it's yellow. And they mix together. And then whoever has the first orgasm, that determines which parent the child will resemble. And once the fluids have mixed, whichever one rises to the surface, this determines the sex of the child. This is all completely wrong. It's all completely idiotic nonsense. And yet it's supposedly the final miracle that's supposed to convince us. Then you have 86, 5, 5, 6, 7. We already read that. That's it. So that's the Quran on embryology. That's what the Quran gets right, ladies and gentlemen. What did he get right? What did the Quran get right? That's what we're dealing with, guys. So that was proving Islam in 25 seconds. Proving Islam in 25 seconds.